can skip any weight for any school, as long as you put your name on the list before you go to Bahrain.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Military Journeymen. My name is Julian Miata, and in this video, I interview my friend Hadi, where he explains how he's going through the process right now of going to Bahrain, where he's able to skip the whole A school wait time list. So if you're trying to go to AMT, PA, ME, where these schools are either closed or like 4 years long as of this video, then you want to watch this because you might be able to skip that whole line by doing what my friend is doing. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome to Military Journeyman. My name is Julian Miata, and this channel is all about giving you the best military tips and money-saving hacks. So subscribe so you can keep up to date. I don't think anybody wants to be stuck on a cutter for too long as a non-rate because you know you want to move on with your career, you want to become a petty officer, stuff like that. So what's something that you're doing to maybe kind of skip past that?
So I put my name on the AMT A school list in January. Recently, like past couple months, found out that they closed it completely, so you can't even put your name on the list, which really sucks. I joined the Coast Guard to become an AMT. That was like the whole reason. Well, not the whole reason, but like a huge reason why I joined the Coast Guard. Yeah, because I wanted to go in the aviation world. Okay. Yeah. So right now, with the last people who put their name on the list, they have to wait 3 years, and I don't even know how long I'm going to be in Cape May for.
And then you also have to get qualified too. So you could be on a cutter for like 4 years. So what are you doing specifically to kind of skip past that wait?
Well, right now I'm in the process of applying to go to PAF Force while in Bahrain. So that's you get like priority 1 afterwards, which means you can pick wherever you want to go once you're done with your tour.
So like Bahrain. you can skip like a 4-year wait for school and just go to the top of the list.
Yeah, you can skip any wait for any school, as long as you put your name on the list before you go to Bahrain or whatever you want to do.
So what is it kind of like being going to Bahrain? Like you kind of been studying up on it, on what is the process for like a non-rate going to Bahrain. Can you kind of explain what that's all about?
There's just a lot of paperwork, and obviously you have to be in compliance with like the weight standards, PT standards. You have to be, I think, at least SIG qualled and M16 qualled.
So what's the commitment going to Bahrain?
So it's a year in Bahrain. You're basically going to be working on a 110, which is a little bit bigger than an 87. Basically the same thing, just I think over there you're going to be doing like anti-terrorism and like stuff of that nature.
So you're doing like boardings and stuff like that in Bahrain. You're BTM, and you're there for 1 year?
Yeah, for 1 year.
For 1 year. Bahrain, it's not like you're going to war or anything like that. It's
no.
What is Bahrain maybe kind of like?
Well, from what I've been told, right now it's a safe zone. Like it's a pretty safe area. I think back like a few years back, it was a danger zone. Like it was a dangerous area to be in. But I think the Coast Guard is just there working with the Navy to like to ensure the safety.
So how long is the process when you want to go to Bahrain? Like how does that all work?
So they will solicit, like the Coast Guard will solicit a message out for non-rates and even like petty officers or whatever for billets in Bahrain. And then you just start filling out paperwork, which is a lengthy process. You got to get like a overseas physical, stuff like that.
Do you have to be qualified at your unit first before you can put in for Bahrain?
You definitely do. You have to be, I think, at least boat crew qualified. And and I think, as I mentioned earlier, you have to be qualified with a firearm. Okay.
So you become qualified. So like if you're trying to skip the line to go to A school, the Coast Guard will put out a message saying, hey, we're looking for people to go to Bahrain, non-rates, to work on cutters. You can work on land units in Bahrain?
That's I've heard about that. Like I heard something about land units, so I don't know. Okay. I don't know too many details like that, but
so they put out these messages that say, hey, you can go to Bahrain. It's a year commitment. and you're basically going to be on a cutter, probably mess cooking, doing maybe some boarding.
Probably
like
the
that.
same thing that like I do right now in 87.
On
Just
an 87.
deck work, maintenance. Although like I was told that like if you are at the shore unit, you're in charge of like the maintenance side, and if you're actually on like the cutter underway, you don't have to deal with any kind of maintenance or anything.
Okay, so you're
So I don't know how accurate or true that is. I mean, don't take my word for it, but that's what I heard.
Okay, so 6 months, maybe you get qualified, and then you start the process. From the time you start the process, when do they kind of pick you up to go to Bahrain?
So the deadline for all the paperwork that I'm filling out right now is the 1st of November, and it takes a month for them to get back to me to tell me whether or not I'm going to be going or not. So I'll be finding out in December. And then after I find out, I think you have to go to like pre-deployment training for like a month. And then once that's over, and then that's when you get to go to Bahrain.
Okay. So that whole process is what, maybe like, what do you say, like 4 or 5 months?
Probably like three to four.
3 to 4 months from the time they solicit the message saying, hey, we're looking for people, to when you can actually go. And what if, will your command automatically let you go, or is that?
I mean, yeah, you need your command's approval. My command let me go. But yeah, you definitely need a command's approval before. Like if you're a horrible non-rate and like you just don't do your job, you're probably not gonna go.
Okay. Yeah, so that's some really good advice, like for people, because I know lots of people are thinking like, man, these waits are way too long. Like, I just want to become like an ME or an AMT or a PA. But something that you can do is you can go to Bahrain after you become qualified at your unit with the command endorsement, and you can skip that whole line and go to the A school of your choice, which can save you. Because you'd be saving how much time if you went to Bahrain?
Well, that's the thing. Like with AMT, like I have no idea how I'm going to be there for. I know it's going to be at least over a year. So
for the wait.
Yeah. So that's why I'm going to Bahrain, because it could be longer than that. It could be 2 years. I know people who put their name on the AMT list when the wait was like 12 to 15 months who waited 2 years in Cape May.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they were thinking they were only going to be there for a year, and then they end up being there for
2 years.
For 2 years. Yeah, and that's just because the Coast Guard's just been recruiting a lot of people right now.
There's a lot of people joining the Coast Guard.
A lot of people joining the Coast Guard right now, so it definitely does suck that you have to wait so much longer, but there are some ways that you can kind of get around that. One thing, if you don't want to go to Bahrain, just go to, try to request a unit in boot camp where you might be able to, like if you want to go BM, try to maybe get on like an 87. That's a good option, get that experience, because you're doing a lot of what the BMs and the other people are doing, right?
Yeah.
You're doing like the same type of job?
Yeah, pretty much. Just a lot of sanding and painting and a lot of deck work, which is basically what the BMs do too. Like, like my BM, like she was a BM3, and the BM2 right now, like they just help us out with deck work. I mean, obviously they have more responsibility than a non-rate would, like with paperwork and like I don't know, whatever BMs do.
What do they do?
What do they do? I don't know if that could be put in the video or not. But yeah, like that's pretty much, as a non-rate, as a decky, that's what you do. You just do BM work.
Okay.
You're like a baby BM.
A baby BM.
Baby BM.
Thank you so much for coming out here. Yeah, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, because we share the best military tips and money-saving hacks. So until next time, guys, peace out. All
right, ask me again. I'm sorry.